Do you feel a 12 out of 10 crazy when you look in the mirror? Do you shake, vibrate, pulsate, and just feel this like electric crawling sensation all throughout your body? Have you diagnosed yourself with numerous neurological diseases and disorders? Do you actually hope sometimes that it is one of those conditions and disorders? That way you can actually just know what the hell is going on with you. Are you sensitive to light, to sound, to touch, to other people, to environments, to food? I mean, are you sensitive to just everything? Do you feel this electrical burning sensation in your head? Does it feel like it's like acid rain? Do you wake up one morning too terrified and filled with fear to even leave your room? And the next day you wake up with just an overwhelming amount of this like white hot rage inside of you? And then the next day you're so just depressed and low and you just feel completely hopeless? Are you experiencing dramatic mood swings for what you perceive as like no reason at all? Are you experiencing tremendous amounts of sheer terror and fear that seem to come out of nowhere? Have you convinced yourself that you just have some crazy, insane form of an anxiety disorder? Are you starting to question your sanity? Have you considered checking yourself into a mental health center? Or have you actually checked yourself into a mental health center? Are you starting to think that you have some form of psychosis? Are you just so lost in the pain and confusion of what's happening that you're starting to have suicidal thoughts? Do you just want whatever is happening to stop? Does it feel like you're being haunted? Does your life just feel like a nightmare? Are you becoming afraid of everything? Are you having panic attacks what feels like every day? Are you waking up with the night sweats? Does it just feel like the pain is never going to end? Do you feel disconnected from reality? Are you suffering from derealization and depersonalization disorders? Do you have just too much energy and anxiety that you can't sleep at night? Are you losing your appetite? One minute are you freezing cold, and then the next you're just burning hot? Are your limbs randomly going numb? Do you have this like strange metallic taste in your mouth? Does it taste like you've been sucking on pennies? Are you so thoroughly exhausted that the only thing that brings you any relief is just laying in bed? Have you diagnosed yourself with chronic fatigue syndrome? Do you have intense forehead pressure? Like something is just tapping on your forehead from the inside? Are you suffering from unbelievable like brain fog to the point that you feel completely disconnected from your intellectual abilities? Is concentrating, thinking logically, reading or writing all but impossible? Are you having random convulsions or jerking sensations all throughout your body? Is energy rushing or vibrating or shaking through you? Do you feel like pulsations just everywhere? Is socializing and interacting with people just completely overwhelming? Do you just feel opened up and raw to where you just feel unsafe? Is your outer life falling apart and collapsing? Does every day and every moment just feel like a cold shower? Are you feeling ungrounded and manic at times? Do you scream into your pillow because of just how hopeless this situation has made you feel and how completely and utterly frustrated you are? Are you crying every day? Do you feel like just giving up? Are you taking it one breath and one moment at a time? Are you just resisting everything? Are all of your psychological, physical, and emotional traumas coming to the surface? Have you looked everywhere for an explanation as to what is going on with you, and you just keep coming up empty and without answers? If you can relate to all, most, or even some of what I just read to you, you're most likely going through an intense and very unexpected and spontaneous Kundalini awakening. Everything I just read to you is what I experienced from the very beginning, and I went through 2 months of not even knowing what it was. And that's why I've been so inspired to create this channel, to create my blog, and to create this video, is because that uncertainty caused so much fear and trauma within me. The not knowing what was happening. I went to a neurologist, 3 doctors. I went to the emergency room 3 different times. I saw 2 different psychologists, a psychiatrist. I was prescribed anti-anxiety pills. I was prescribed antidepressants. I really uncovered and like lifted every rock to try to look under and to find what was going on. And I would just kept coming up empty and without answers. And it was very scary for myself and those close to me initially. So I tried to create this video as if it was something that my older self, 19 months ago, 20 months ago, when it all started happening to me, if I created this video with the spirit of, if I could have looked at it and watched this, it would have just given me so many answers. I asked those close to me what stood out about my Kundalini awakening before I had any knowledge of what was happening to me. And they said just how tortured I looked every day and how afraid I was and just how much pain I was in and just the confusion of not knowing. And when we're confused and afraid, we resist. And when we resist this energy, it just makes it so much more painful and so much more difficult to manage. And it makes the process feel like it's impossible. And we just start suffering more than we can imagine. And one quote that has stuck with me that I want to share with you is, pain is a part of the human experience, suffering is a choice. We suffer when we resist. If we can just surrender, if we can just open to the Kundalini energy, if we can just allow what's happening to happen fully without trying to change the experience, our experience of what's happening will change. And I'm just going to read something to you that I wrote on my blog post that you can click on that I feel like will help you a lot too. And I feel like what I'm going to read here is like the number one practice that you can start doing right now to help this situation even out, mellow out, and just to help yourself relax. Psychological trauma can develop when we resist this process of a Kundalini awakening. The hardest part in the beginning is the lack of trust we have with the energy and with what's happening to us. What needs to happen is a complete and utter surrender to what is happening within you. This may be nearly impossible for you to internalize right now, depending on where you are in the process. There will come a point to where you are so thoroughly exhausted and that you are just have been so broken down that you cannot fight one more second. This is when you will truly be able to surrender. The practice of surrender is simply to completely relax and open your body to the experience. Open into the intense energy. Allow it fully. Allow all of the pain, all of the fear, all of the depression, the anger. Just allow these energies up. Stop resisting feeling them. Stop wanting to feel differently, and just embrace and open to these emotions and energies. Don't believe your thoughts. Observe your thoughts, but don't identify with them. Not identifying with them doesn't mean to suppress them and to try to distract yourself from them. Allow your mind its freedom. Allow it to have its fear and its anger and its confusion and its frustration and its terror. Allow those things to come up. But know that you're not the mind. You have a mind rather than you are your mind. When you surrender, you will start sensing your space of being. As you begin connecting with your space of being, you will have more space from the intense, energetic process that's happening within. When we cultivate this space through surrender and letting go of who we thought we were, we will start to sense a quiet inner voice that is all-knowing. The voice will assure us that everything is okay and that what we are going through is a profound and incredible transformation. Try this now. Close your eyes and see if you can feel into the knowing that something profound is occurring within. You are more connected to the truth of what is happening than you know. Rest in the silence and connect with the spaciousness that is all around you. Let go of your hyper-focus on the mind and the body. Realize the truth of you being much more than your body and mind by completely allowing all of the darkness within you to arise. Open yourself to the fear, the pain, the anger, and the despair. Allow that deep depression to come up to be felt fully. Don't shy away from anything. Whatever you resist persists. This is happening to you for a reason. The intelligence of the universe is waking up in you as you. The old self you are desperately clinging to is no more. Who you will be a year from now is something that you cannot possibly imagine. You are in the divine's arms now. What is meant to be will be. Your highest spiritual potential for this lifetime will be attained. It isn't about you doing anything to facilitate this. In fact, it is more about not doing and allowing the divine will to take over your life. Let your personal will dissolve. That is why there is so much suffering. It is your personal will or ego refusing to let go. Honor this personal will, for it has served you and taken you very far. But now a higher movement is coming into you and is going to guide you to your highest realization. Love your old self and then let go of it and allow and surrender everything to the Kundalini. I also am going to post a lot of blog posts that I've created that will really help you, for you to find. And I created a Kundalini Crisis resource page with a bunch of amazing resources and people and information to connect with. And I just think it's so important to have some guidance on this path, especially in the very beginning when you don't know what the hell is going on. And that's why this path, this whole awakening is so difficult at first. Especially for someone like me who is, if you are like me, who is just an atheist, not spiritual at all, for something that's beyond the mind's ability to conceptualize, rationalize, and understand, for something like that to start happening, it can really cause so much pain and suffering and confusion. And if you're like me, I was so used to having this tight grip on life through my ego and through my mind and controlling everything. So like all of a sudden to have this higher energy start flooding my being, and for the directive to be to just let go, it can be very hard. And we can just have this strong unconscious grip that what's going to happen is the Kundalini is just going to break you down until you finally surrender. But I promise you, when you surrender, it just changes the whole experience. And you come to a place where you wouldn't change it, you wouldn't give it up for anything, and that you would go through it 1,000,000 times over. You would go through all the pain and the suffering and the darkness 1,000,000 times over for the gifts that start coming into your life. So I hope this helps you guys. Feel free to contact me, connect with me if you have any more specific questions. Thanks for watching. Namaste.